So there's a rag on it. Did you flip any cars over or anything?
No. I was just trying to get the attention of this hot Philly girl at the bar that I was at.
Hot Philly girl?
Yeah. Well, okay. She had a Philly cheesesteak in each hand, and I wanted the sandwiches. So
you're talking about the waitress.
The waitress. Yes. The waitress. She kept bringing food.
That makes more sense. Okay.
Marjorie Tyrell Bosnick, you get back here right now and you pull this sled. Do not talk back to me, young lady. That's it. You know what? No belly rubs. No belly rubs today. That's how serious I am.
Eli, is that a snow machine you brought into the studio?
Hey, yeah. Sorry, guys. This week is the endurance expedition, so, I figure getting to...
Is that a Zamboni in the corner?
Yeah, I wanted to have the pack ice be as realistic as possible, so...
Okay, well, pack ice doesn't have a blue line, so that's
Madge pulled me that far earlier, but we crossed before the puck, so we had to come back. That's a hockey joke.
Yeah, we know.
I didn't write it. What does it mean?
Holy shit, is that Tom lying dead under the table over there? What the fuck?
Yeah, I told him that in order to survive, we had to reach a cache of food under there, but then he found my vegan jerky, and he just killed himself right away.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, where's Noah?
Oh, he was shivering so badly. So I just cut Tom open, just stuffed him in there to warm him up.
And I thought these things smelled bad on the outside.
Okay, did you throw a whole bottle of vodka in there with him too? What's happening?
No, that was in there when I cut him open.
The whole bottle?
Whole bottle.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Noah, and I'm going to be sailing this ship due south to its certain doom, but I'm not going to be doing it all by myself. First up, the two guys making sure we leave with all the necessary supplies of rum, Heath and Tom.
I have a drinking problem. Yeah, the new Tesla can run on my blood if you can't find a charger. You're fine.
I don't really see the problem. I use a handy new liver-shaped storage system for my rum. It's my liver. I'm dying.
It's more like a solution. That's good.
Dying.
And of course, also joining us is the guy we're going to keel haul if he keeps mentioning Jean-Benet Ramsey, and the person that'll be happy to do the keel hauling, Eli and Cecil.
Okay, this is unfair. Cecil and Noah get to do history, Tom gets to mock the dead, Heath gets to start race wars. I never get to do my thing. I don't know why everyone...
What? How is my thing race wars?
How is your race thing? How is your thing race wars?
It's the swastika tattoo.
There you go.
Pipe down, Peppy.
I think this is a great thing, though. It combines, Eli, your desire to die with my desire to kill you. So win-win, right?
Which reminds me, for our sharing a hotel room at the live show,
That's not
which
gonna
as
happen.
of this recording, we are only $20 away
Not
from
gonna
doing,
happen.
I use a sleep apnea machine.
Oh, my God.
Not for medical reasons. I just like it.
He lets
like
the
his
soft
cozy.
whirring of a sleep apnea machine.
I'm
it
just
is
too
not
lazy
soft.
to breathe on my own.
That's what it is.
It's
honestly.
exhausting.
I've got a lot going on. I don't want to, like that. No.
All right, so before we dive into this story, we need to take one quick second to thank our patrons for fully funding this expedition. Without you, this pack of dogs would be a lot more mangy. And, of course, if you'd like to learn how to join their ranks, be sure to stick around to the end of the show. And, yes, we really are just $20 away from doing the live show.
And yes, Cecil and I really will share a hotel room.
False. We will not.
Together.
No.
Certainly
One
not
bed,
going to happen.
two beds,
No. Certain that is
one
not
apnea
happening.
machine.
Guys, I'm just not going to tell you where I'm staying. That's
I will
He
find
means
you.
like the city.
I would just be impressed if you stayed, Cecil. I can see he does the show. He just turns on his heel, walks out the door. That's it. Fuck it, I'm out.
Cecil's just going to parachute in like it's like the swimmer.
All right, so with all of that out of the way, tell us, Heath, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Well, today's the first part of a 2-part episode. Get excited. And today we're going to be talking about the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition, or the first part of it. It's commonly known as the Endurance Expedition.
All right. And Cecil, are you ready to strand us in the middle of an essay so we can be rescued by Tom next week?
You don't have to ask me twice to strand you guys in the middle of nowhere.
Good, because I wasn't going to, and it was only in the scripted books.
All right, so this is the story about the crew of the Endurance and the expedition they planned to the Antarctic.
And real quick, spoiler, this is not about Cecil's first time trying anal. So do not be fooled like me. It's a misleading thesis statement. That's not what it's about.
Okay, so the trip was led by a seasoned Antarctic adventurer by the name of Ernest Shackleton. They had planned to travel through the roughest waters in the world, land on one side of Antarctica, then traverse the entire continent using sled dogs.
Seriously, not about anal.
Another ship was to meet them on the other side of the continent. That crew had planned to travel inland as far as they could and leave caches of food for Shackleton and the others.
Okay, I swear it's not. I looked ahead. I read ahead. He'll get there. It's going to stop being about asses in a second.
Well, that's your problem. You can't look at the head, Heath. You got to...
Okay, now I'm confused. Is this about anal or head? I don't...
Ask him out.
Why's it got to be either or?
Rusty trombone.
We're going around the world on this expedition.
Oh, is that what that means? Is it Rusty trombone type thing? You guys wouldn't tell me last time.
It's every hole.
It's all of it.
It's basically a tour of spelunking.
Both of the holes?
There's an order of operations that's recommended.
There is a recommended order of
You
operations.
could go 1, 2, 3. You can go 2, 1, 3, but you cannot go.
There's 3?
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1 is not recommended.
Yeah. And there's another combination that gives you a UTI. So this trip was going to cost a lot of money. So they needed to find some wealthy backers.
Patreon.com/Shackleton.
And Shackleton eventually found 3 people that gave a substantial amount of money to the project. Dudley Docker and Janet Stancombe Willis gave £10,000 each, and wealthy Scottish industrialist Sir James Caird gave £24,000, which the article says was about £2.1 million in current value. Jesus. I only tell you their names now because they named the lifeboats after them, and that's going to be very important later.
Okay, hold on, because I feel like when you have to name your lifeboats, I'm guessing we don't normally do that. I'm going to go on a limb and say this is not a good sign of things to come.
Meanwhile, by the way, wealthy British tycoon Bodie McBoatface got fucked on this deal. Complete bullshit.
He's going to have to wait 100 years to get a boat named after him. So they purchase a ship and they call it the Endurance. Now, Shackleton settled on his name because his family motto was, quote, "By endurance we conquer," unquote. And after reading that, my first thought was, who the fuck has a family motto? Right? And then my second thought was, there could not be a more prophetic family motto than this.
Right? My family's motto is 1 verse, 1 chorus, and I'm asleep.
Cool. Mine's is no killing yourself until the inheritance is 6 figures. So it's enough now. Yeah. So, any minute.
I want to change mine. Only you can prevent forest fires. Just feels stupid now. It's not. Why did we pick that?
Now, to keep Eli happy, I'm going to tell you part of the story that Wikipedia states is, quote, generally regarded as apocryphal.
Yeah, I am the virus of lies.
So supposedly,
lies.
So supposedly Shackleton put an ad in the paper that said, quote, "Men wanted for a hazardous journey.
Ass play.
Low wages, bitter cold, long hours of complete darkness.
Again. What's happening?
Safe return doubtful.
Ibid, Your Honor.
honor and recognition in event of success.
Okay, we get it. You're an ass man. Moving on. Just tell the story.
So no one's actually ever found this ad, and it's actually probably next to a personal from a magician that says, "I am a series of masks covering something long dead."
Okay. I shared my lonely hearts with you in confidence, Cecil, and for you to bring it on the show.
Like they show up for that ad, and it turns out to be door-to-door perfume sales. Like, oh, fuck! That's even worse than described. Fuck.
All right. So, but regardless of what wording they chose, he was advertising, hey, come on a boat and don't get laid for months before probably dying. So, no matter how you word that, were there any takers?
Actually, Shackleton had a ton of people submit applications.
Really?
Over 5,000 of them.
Jesus.
He had eventually trimmed that number down to 28 crewmen for each of the two ships, the Endurance and the Aurora. There was also someone that stowed away in Buenos Aires when their application was rejected.
Really?
Shackleton was the leader of the expedition, but he didn't captain the ship. That job fell to Frank Worsley.
I love that there's a stowaway. It's like, hey, did you get that horrible job you applied for? Oh, no, man, but I'm going to sneak on board and just like hope it all works out. Then I'm going to steal a poster in North Korea. USA! USA!
The Endurance set sail for Antarctica almost a month later than they wanted, and they didn't tell the crew of the Aurora, the ship that's supposed to meet them on the other side of Antarctica.
Hold on. The other side? What does that even mean? It's Antarctica. That's the bottom. What side are you talking about?
Okay, well, spoiler alert, they're going to be a lot later than a month.
Wait a minute. They didn't even tell them that they were a month late? Jesus, the time to abort narrows every day.
To be fair, boats are much easier to get semen out of, so you can't just kick the hull. It's a hole.
They leave in early December to travel to the Antarctic, and they're traveling through the Weddell Sea. Now, Wikipedia has this to say about that body of water. Quote, the Weddell Sea is, according to the testimony of all who have sailed through its berg-filled waters, the most treacherous and dismal region on Earth, unquote.
Okay, that's only because you can't sail through Chicago, so to be fair.
We have a river. You can
actually right through it.
I know so little about the natural world. It's fascinating. It's fascinating the things I don't know. Huge gaps.
You can sail on the side of it on the lake,
yeah,
too. You can traverse it by water.
It could be an island for all I know.
I just love that Wikipedia claims, according to every person who's ever sailed. I'm sure there's one sailor who's like the one dentist who doesn't recommend brushing after meals or whatever. There's one guy that's like, I've seen worse. I've seen it. All right, so worst place in a world that contains both Afghanistan and rural Indiana. So how did they fare?
So by mid-December, their boat is stuck in the ice pack. It's stuck for 24 hours and then they free it. 3 days after that, it stops again. And Shackleton commented on this turn of events. He said, quote, I had been prepared for the evil conditions in the Weddell Sea, but I had hoped that the pack would be loose.
Okay.
What we are encountering is a fairly dense pack of a very obstinate character.
Okay, it feels like you're doing it on purpose now. You're trying to fuck with us.
I love the wording. Like, I love the way people described hardship back in the day. It's like a bit of chill in the air. It's olden times code for the earth has become a frozen wasteland devoid of all life.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm really excited for my grandkids to read about how many spoons the explorers of today have. That's going to be fun.
I also love how he describes the ice as having an obstinate character. That's so fucking British of him, right? Like he's gonna go walk out on the deck, offer it a whiskey and a cigar, convince it that clinging up to the boat is really in no one's best interest.
So they fight their way through these shitty conditions and ice pack to a glacial wall. They had considered landing on it, but Shackleton thought it was too far north and decided against it. This is a decision he is said to later regret.
Yeah, that's weird because he had that sweet no regrets tattoo. So,
and that unending string of equally regrettable shit that's happened up until now, like the entire fucking story.
They almost make it to shore just north of where they had planned to land, but they get stuck in another ice floe. This one is taking them north and west. They try to free the boat, and at one point, Shackleton sends his men out with chisels, picks, and saws, but it doesn't work. When they can't get the boat free, they cut the engine fires to save the fuel.
Right, because when chisels, picks, and saws don't work, you stop shoveling coal. Look, if you want to do an episode about butt sex, just do an episode about butt sex. Like, don't be shy. Like, we can talk about butt sex. It's cool. We'll do the boat trip thing next week. Whatever. I want to talk about butt sex. Cecil's in particular.
So by the end of February, they're still stuck. And it looks as if they're going to be frozen in the ice all winter. So they house all the dogs that they have off board in what they call dog loos.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I know that sounds adorable. And that is the only nice thing that happens to these dogs.
But it's a very nice
Cecil, if you I Am Legend this episode, I will cut you. I just want you to know that.
And they set up camp with the boat stuck in the ice. Shackleton hopes at the beginning of summer, they'll be free and they can take another crack at the coast.
Well, fuck, if these hardened explorers can't be bothered to power through, it seems unfair to expect us to do so. So I guess we'll take a quick break for a bit of apropos of nothing.
Captain, why are we doing this again?
To be bold, to be adventurers, so the world may know the majesty of our efforts and be emboldened by our noble spirits.
Okay, Yar, hear what you're saying, and really, that sounds great, but, like, do you expect to find anything there, like anything
I expect
there?
to find myself.
All right.
I expect to test my mettle and pit the very grit of my soul against all that nature has to offer, and to stand victorious on the last great unexplored wilderness and claim it for my own.
Right. Yeah. So, about that, you know there's, like, nothing here, right?
Of course I know there's nothing here. It's the very nothing I long to see, to conquer the void itself.
Captain, our boat is stuck, sir.
Nah, the boat is not stuck. The ship is merely delayed from passage. A temporary setback on
The boat, Captain, it's really stuck.
Yeah, like we're stranded. Completely
We're
stranded.
never stranded, so long as we have our dogs. Faithful, brave, powerful, our canine friends shall be the savior of us all. Companion as well as worker, our fates are intertwined with the noble husky.
Pugs.
The noble Wait, what?
Pugs. I traded the huskies for pugs, sir. Much cuter, and they take up less room, so double win for there.
We have... Wait. Pugs?
Yeah. Now, Madge, you see, she's their leader, but she's allergic to snow, seals, hard work, breathing without assistance. So I brought her sleep apnea machine, and penguins. She does not like penguin, and her feet get cold, even in the summer. So here... so she's going to need to be carried pretty much wherever we go. Also, we have to change her sweater twice a day or she gets this rash and it runs down the side of her tummy. And if you're not careful, it can get real bad. Not like dangerous bad, but just like ugly, you know, that like kind of distracting, like, oh, what's going on with
We're
it?
going to die, gentlemen.
Absolutely, yes.
We are.
Die of cuteness.
And we're back. When we last left our heroes, they decided to just take the whole fucking winter off like a bunch of slack asses. Hey, guys, I got the fucking flu, but I'm still here recording this show, Ernest Shackleton. Anyway, Cecil, take it away.
So at first, being stuck on the ice isn't that big a deal. The pack ice is not getting them too far off course. In March, they calculate that they had only traveled about 95 miles with the pack. So the pressures of the ice on the boat aren't that terrible either at this point. But as autumn and winter start to roll around, they realize that the situation is getting pretty bad.
Getting bad. I cry when the heat in my car takes too long to warm up. I cry tears from my eyes, and then they freeze.
Yeah.
They're a month into being stranded, and now they decide it's getting bad. Getting?
Where was it?
I know this is a weird aside, but whenever I read these stories, any of these kind of stories, I'm always just like, Why don't they just kill themselves?
I know.
Just kill yourself, right? It's such an easy out. Like, we're about to hear about them using pea icicles to fight to the death over the last sled dog meat. Just kill yourself when it's like, oh, this looks like it might be hard. All right, try again, never. And then it's just over.
Jesus, Eli, one time I'd love for you to suggest a solution to a problem that doesn't involve both suicide and pea icicles. Just once before I die.
So the flow starts to move much quicker with the onset of winter. The ice is piling up, and it looks like they might not get the ship free until the summer. So Shackleton is thinking of trying to get to the coast in some alternative way, possibly using life rafts or just marching across the pack, but they decide to wait it out.
Wait it out? That feels fucking stupid. Okay. Just like, all right, how many votes for do something? Great. Hands up for do so. Okay, how many votes for nothing at all? Absolutely nothing at all. Okay. Great. Just to be clear, the plan is freeze to death our way out of this. That's what we're going with, guys? We're going to freeze to death out. Okay, I think you guys are going a little too far with this Zen thing. It's too much.
So since they're stuck for the winter, they decide to make the most of it. They spend their time racing dogs, taking long walks on the ice pack, having theatrical recitals on the ship. Really? They ration out their food, and they supplement it with penguin and seal meat. Now, neither of these animals knew to be afraid of humans, so you could basically kill them with a boat oar.
It's just like people in the Rust Belt. Just walk right up. Hey, you see this oar?
Keith, don't be silly. It's wrong to kill a penguin or a seal.
Oh, Jesus.
They're not people if they're from the Rust Belt. I think we all know that.
Hillary knew that. That's why she didn't go talk to him.
So the pack ice starts to really squeeze the hell out of the boat. The captain described it as, quote, being thrown to and fro like a shuttlecock a dozen times.
Shuttlecock, just a bunch of guys stranded alone doing theater recitals and talk about throwing around their shuttlecocks. It's fine. The life of a sailor.
So the pressure is so great that the hull begins to crack and leak. The wood of the hull...
Wait, wood? The wood, they have metal. At this point, 1914, metal had been discovered.
Yes. They decided to make this one out of wood, though, because it's cheaper. So the wood hull...
That's when you want a discount, is when you're going to Antarctica.
Yeah, make sure you take your Kia to Antarctica.
The dowel rods aren't holding, sir. We need more cam blocks.
So the wood hull starts splintering under the pressure, and it sounds like gunshots when it breaks. The temperature outside the boat at this point is negative 25 Celsius. They abandon ship, taking the lifeboats and all the supplies they can get off the boat, and they set up a camp nearby and try to pump the water.
Go the fuck home? Is that
No.
Is that what they do? Is that what pump out the water means in sailor talk? Go the fuck home, obviously.
No.
Yeah, pumping out the water is a good idea. I wouldn't want there to be any water in the boat that's been crushed.
Yeah.
That would be inconvenient.
It would be all wet
It's not
then.
crushed
No,
yet.
you know, it would splurt out of the top. Like a geyser.
They did spend several days scavenging everything they can from the ship, and then they set up camp. At this point, they had traveled about 425 miles in the ice pack, so they're weighing their options and considering heading west to a long peninsula and a line of islands. Worsley at this point thinks they should wait for the ice floe to take them closer to that peninsula, but Shackleton overruled him. They decide to march for it. Now, before they leave, they kill all the weaker animals they have with them, including a cat named Mrs. Chippy and a puppy that the surgeon was taking care of.
You didn't have to tell us these details.
I didn't, but I wanted to.
And a Jew, but nobody mentions
Yeah, well,
it.
no.
Nobody mentions it.
yeah.
God, I'm rooting so hard for the ice right now. So hard. I hope the ice killed. Like, I didn't realize an ice floe could be a protagonist, but there you go. That's who I'm fucking rooting for.
Yeah, I miss when we talked about fun stuff like the Challenger explosion.
Yeah. From the guy who just a minute ago was perfectly fine with these people slitting their own wrists with frozen urine.
Yeah. If they're from the Rust Belt.
So they set out on October 30th, but the ice pack is not smooth, and they are dragging along two large lifeboats. After 3 days of this horrible march across the ice, they make it 2 miles.
Oh my God. Yeah, when you're measuring in hours per mile, shit ain't going your way.
So Shackleton abandons the march and they make camp. So since they're close to the Endurance wreck, several parties head back to gather what they can from the boat and what they abandoned when they started their march.
3 days after they leave, one guy's just like, oh shit, I forgot my coffee. Reach his arm casually behind him. Oh, I got it.
No worries.
Just right over here.
Still warm. So on November 21st, 1915, the Endurance sinks. They're stuck on the ice with as much gear as they could get off the ship and 3 lifeboats.
Good. Fuck them. Fuck all of them. I hope all their dogs just like formed up like Voltron and morphed into a giant boat and just sailed away, giving them the fucking finger. I hate these people.
So they stay at this camp that they dubbed Ocean Camp for 2 months. A few days before Christmas, Shackleton orders a march. Temperatures at this point are uncomfortably warm and men are trying to walk through the ice pack and they're sinking up to their knees.
Yeah, I was thinking the warmth was going to be a problem for them at this point.
Yeah. So they march for around 7 days and they make it 7.5 miles.
Jesus Christ.
7.5 miles. Then they just basically at that point, they just call another halt.
Yeah.
The crew then unpacks their tents and they set up the second ice camp called Patience Camp. Their supplies are running low and they have to shoot all but 2 packs of the dogs.
Boo.
At this point, they can see the land, but they're stuck. The ice is too shitty to cross on foot, and so they have to wait several more months on the ice.
I like the ever increasingly desperate camp names. It's like Camp Ocean, Camp Patience, Camp Any Minute Now, Camp Doom, Camp I'm Sorry, Wolfie.
And I love that they're right next to the land, but they're like, that must have been torture. They're stuck out there on the ice and they can literally like see more ice. What? Why did anybody go on this trip? It's the worst.
Yeah, okay, all right, sounds bad. But to be fair, if they'd made it to Antarctica, they would have seen, more ice. There's nothing to find in Antarctica. Just same everywhere you look.
In early April, they had gotten about 60 miles from Paulet Island. But since they were stuck in the ice and they couldn't march across it, they couldn't make a break for it. So they had to kill the rest of the dogs at this point to add to the rations.
And that's why Antarctica has all those red ferns.
For the younger members of our audience, that's a reference to a book about why pets aren't toys to give your grubby face turn of the century children. That's what that book's about.
You give them coal shovels. That's what you give.
Yeah, because coal shovels don't die defending your shitty kid who wanders into the forest.
I like the second dog dies of loneliness after the first dog. You didn't have to write that in at all. The second dog could have been fine.
I hated that. That's when I was like, I yelled at my teacher. I was like, this is a stupid book. The kid should have died. And she was like, back to the counselor's office. And I was like, whatever, man. I'm not getting any better. It's getting worse.
By the way, most people don't know this, but there's a similar tragic journey happened near the North Pole, but with reindeer instead of dogs. It was called the Blitzen Party. The Blitzen Party.
All right, so we finally have the dog genocide in the rear view. I guess we can get moving now, huh?
Yeah, well, on April 8th, 1916, they had traveled farther north than they had hoped, and the ice floe suddenly broke apart. They loaded in their 3 lifeboats, the Dudley Docker, the Stancomb Willis, and the James Caird, and they had hoped to reach Deception Island. Supposedly there's a small wooden church there, and they hoped to tear it down and make a boat with the wood.
They're a pack of dogs just waiting there, throwing planks of wood from the church into the water. Like, oh, hey, you guys looking for some wood? Here, fetch, assholes. Go.
I just love that there's a church in the middle of fucking Antarctica surrounded by nothing on an island called Deception.
Right.
Like, if that's not fucking perfect, I don't know what is.
And who the fuck put the church there? I have follow-up questions. We have a Catholic polar bear?
At this point, they had spent 16 months on the ice floe. 5 of these months were camping on the fucking ice.
Jesus.
They spend 7 days, 7 fucking days trying to navigate in this broken ice pack. The temperatures at this point are around -20 Fahrenheit or -30 Celsius. They are constantly soaked with seawater. They alternate between camping on the ice and getting back in the boat. And at this point, a group of them make a break for land. The only land they can make it to is Elephant Island, which is a desolate rock with a tiny beach.
Yeah, but for a bunch of Brits, that's got to feel like right at home.
That's so true.
Okay, it sounds bad, but like one time when I was doing dishes, I got some cold dishwater splashed on me. I cried and booked a trip to Cabo. I'm tough too. I'm tough.
Yeah, I got too many mean tweets and now I shit 84 times a day, so I get it. I get it.
They make it to the island on the 14th of April, but they can't land because there's this huge cliffs and a wall of glaciers. So the next day, they
hire Andre the Giant to haul him up on a rope. I've seen this one.
they head to the eastern part of the island. There they find like this narrow beach and they make land. They realize they can't stay here though because the high tide line covers the beach. So they scout with one of the ships to find a place that they can camp, and they find it 7 miles away. They call this place Camp Wild after Frank Wild, the crewman who found it.
How about that, Frank? Huh? We'll name this place We Might Die after you. That's fun. Isn't this fun?
Honestly, after naming stuff endurance and patience, I was expecting like Camp the Stranger. For this one. You have frostbite. You don't even have to do the hand sitting part.
No,
I'm thinking about it. You just go ahead. You're ready. Either hand.
What is with the naming shit? Like, why bother? Are they thinking of coming back later? Like, oh, we gotta make sure. Why name any of these things?
Right? Also, why is everything in Antarctica 7 miles away from them?
At this point, the crew's in pretty bad shape. They abandon plans to try to head en masse to the much closer Deception Island because Shackleton isn't sure they're all going to make it. They set up camp in this awful place and they try to decide on their next move. So I'm going to leave the story here, and Tom's going to take over next week to tell us about the amazing voyage of the James Caird. Spoiler alert, Tom's totally going to get picked to be the winner of the quiz tonight. Yeah.
But no dogs die in the making of the next essay.
They're all dead. They're all dead.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
We start post-dog genocide, so it'll be a much easier story. All right, so if you had to summarize what you've learned in a single sentence, what would it be, Cecil?
Only bring really old dogs to Antarctica.
It's a camp down state.
Yeah.
All right, are you prepared to face a barrage of semi-related questions from our panel?
I am of an obstinate character. So yes.
Okay, I'll go first.
Still about anal.
I wasn't really paying attention to guys walking through the snow this week. So my question is, why won't you let me do the JonBenet Ramsey episode?
Oh, God.
Is it A, the letter we got from the family's lawyer? B, the letter we got from our lawyer? C, you're afraid of the truth? Or D, all of the above?
I think it's E. You can't handle the truth. I think that's what it is.
All right, Cecil. The hardships endured by Shackleton and his crew were worth it because Antarctica is rich in useful natural resources, such as A, penguins, which look adorable wearing little sweaters at the zoo. B, leopard seals, which pose for awe-inspiring photos with underwater photographers, which could totally eat your face, but that one time they didn't. C, magic beans that grow a beanstalk to reach a castle in the sky full of magic and wonder. Or D, I made that last one up. There's nothing there. It's worse than Montana.
I think I'm going to go with leopard seals. I love that video where the leopard seal's trying to feed the diver.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Feed the fucking diver the fish, and the diver's too stupid to eat the fish. When a leopard seal gives you sushi, you eat the fucking sushi. You know what I mean?
I'm just picturing that like Cecil's really cool with leopard seals. Like, turns out he has a leopard seal friend and he never mentions it because he's that cool. But like, we meet it at Tom's wedding and we're all like, dude, did you know Cecil knew a leopard seal? And it's like, yeah, he's just like, I guess he doesn't make a big deal out of it. It's like, you should make a big deal. It's right here. Tom mentioned he had a black friend. Like, it's
No, I don't.
the same.
All right, so Cecil, as bad as this all seems, this was probably the best career move possible for all of these dudes. Of the other employment options available to European men between 1914 and 1916, which would have been the worst?
Jesus Christ.
A, dying in World War I. That was their other option. B, getting severely mutilated in World War I.
I guess
C,
okay, yeah.
getting previously undiscovered types of mental trauma from being in World War I, or D, getting killed by their government for refusing to get killed by somebody else's government in World War I.
This ice is looking better and better, it turns out. Yeah, that's secret answer E, all of the fucking above. Jesus.
All right, I got one more question. This one's actually for everybody, not you, Cecil. So, does Everything Cecil Writes have a butt sex double meaning that we've been missing this whole time? A, yes. B, no. C, butthole.
Battle Agincourt. They had to break through the line.
That's why he was so worried about the degrees of angle.
Yeah, it
now
was a
it
tight
makes
wedge.
sense.
They had to march through that line. They used the
It
arrows
was
as
thick
lubricant.
with mud. They could barely get out. Yeah.
With mud. If you want to get in there, you got to flank them first. You don't go straight up the middle. That's not if you want to go there twice.
Now I'm trying to figure out how you flank butt
From the
sex.
side, Eli, from the side.
I'm picturing
It's
like
from the
just
side,
humping a hip.
obviously.
Yeah.
It's like a side mount.
Approach the perimeter
Do you
carefully.
watch MMA at all? All right. You know what? Regardless of who answered what, the real contest in this show is the total number of sodomy jokes you manage. So Heath is this week's winner. Congratulations, Heath. So which of Tom will you pick to do next week's essay? It's kind of
Interesting. Tom did a whole essay on O-rings now that I'm thinking back.
Yeah, right?
there was an explosion at the end of that one too. It was a happy ending.
Interesting. Interesting. I picked Tom.
All right. And now I'm going to toss it over to Sarah for last week's Twitter answer and this week's Twitter question.
Thanks, Noah. Last week's question was, if they were making a movie about Enrique of Malacca's life, what should the tagline be? The winner was Lacey McConnell on Twitter with this. The tagline would be, The Strait of Magellan, please. This week's assignment is write a haiku about the Endurance Expedition. A haiku poem consists of 3 lines. The first and last lines of a haiku have 5 syllables, and the middle line has 7 syllables. Just retweet or Facebook share this episode with your answer for a chance to be next week's winner. Back to you, Noah.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Well, for Cecil, Eli, Heath, and Tom, I'm Noah, thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Tom will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can hear more of Tom and Cecil over on the Cognitive Dissonance podcast, or you can hear more of Heath, Eli, and myself on Scathing Atheist, God Awful Movies, and The Skeptocrat. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod, or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes. Be sure to check out citationpod.com.
I'm sorry, lads. We had to shoot the dogs for food.
No.
Captain, there has to be another way. What?
No, it's okay. They all died from sleep apnea on the first night anyway, so it's fine.
Then why do we
Really?
shoot them?
Fun? I'm sorry. We're bored. We've been on the ice for 6 months, Jerry. You all wouldn't do Hamlet too, so dog shooting.